Welcome, everybody, to Feng Shui Mastery Show with your host, Kathy Hargden. Now, I've got a fantastic speaker tonight. Her name is Renata, and she is an acupuncturist and a shiatsu masseuse. Welcome, Renata.
Hi, Kathy, and thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming along because this is a fascinating subject, and people may ask the question, well, what has acupuncture got to do with Feng Shui? And I just wondered if you could just tell us a little bit about how you actually got into acupuncture in the first place.
Yes, sure. Um, I have been always quite fascinated by the Eastern philosophy and their approach to health, and obviously the holistic way of thinking. And when I trained in Zen Tai Shiatsu back in it's quite a few years now. I was 26. I've learned a lot about Chinese medicine then,
Okay.
and acupuncture was just another branch I decided to climb on, and it was yeah, it has been very interesting um, journey for me since then. Um,
What is the purpose then of
Obviously,
acupuncture?
um, so acupuncture, both acupuncture and Zen Tai Shiatsu are somehow linked together. Um, some people might know or be familiar with our concept of meridians, which are energy channels that run through the body. And if a person might be ill or have some condition or problems, usually how it's the way it's acupuncture or shiatsu would be looking at the problem is finding out if there are any stagnations or any blockages within the body. So um,
That's interesting. So it sounds to me like you're dealing with blockages in to do with the flow of energy within somebody's body. How do you see that paralleling the concept of feng shui?
yeah, I think that's very relevant. I think they it goes together with the feng shui really nicely because um, in feng shui you would be helping people to cleanse and clear they environments from blockages and from stagnation, and I would be helping them to clear these blockages in their physical selves or in the
Mm,
emotional selves. So helping the body to cleanse
right.
and
Yeah.
clear out anything that might be stagnating there.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. And I understand that the five elements um, are relevant both in feng shui and in acupuncture. Can you just explain a little bit about the five elements, please?
Yeah, sure. Five elements. I find five element system a great fun because it can be applied to almost anything. Um, each element that Chinese medicine is working with, or I would be working with, um, has a certain energetic quality.
Hmm.
So we are talking about the five elements of the wood, the fire, earth, metal, and water. So these five elements resonate with different colors, with seasons, with tastes, with emotions, and even organ functions,
Right.
emotional state, behavior,
Right.
attitudes, and even spiritual well-being uh, are all
Okay.
reflected.
So it's like
Uh,
a system that you have in your body, and if one, I assume, if one goes down, then the other one can either help it in some way or other. I'm just going by my knowledge of the 5 elements for the feng shui, we also
Yes.
look at the house, the
Yes.
interior and exterior of the house in terms of the different 5 elements. So how would you go about treating then an element?
Yes. Yeah, they can help each other. They can feed into each other, but they can also have quite damaging effects on each other. If you imagine, for example, too much water would damage the fire. It would put the fire out
I
if there was
see.
too much water. So there is a obviously we constantly trying to help people to balance these elements, and obviously
Yeah.
help with the harmony in a body. So in that sense, it's very similar to Feng Shui, because in Feng Shui you also, I presume, are calming some energies down, and or supporting some energies that might be lacking,
Right.
lacking
Okay.
some
Do you see that in the
strength.
do you see that in the environment as well? Can you identify elements in the environment that may be more
Yeah, of
fiery?
course.
Can you give an example?
Yeah. I can. In the environment, again, we can link the 5 elements to different seasons, for example. So the wood element is the reflects the spring season. So it's very expanding element, and in the person's body, if this element is in harmony, then the person has nice, usually is full of good new ideas, and has a clear vision for what he wants to achieve,
Yeah.
etc. If that element is somehow in disharmony, then this person might feel quite frustrated, angry, or anxious, and
Right.
be quite have lack of direction, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
So again, this can all help us to see what actually is going on with the person,
Yeah.
and that's just one element. Then
Yeah.
again, the fire element that I mentioned, in an environment that would be the summer season, so everything is matured and in blossom, everything
Yeah.
is in full maturity. So this element, the fire element, would be linked to emotions such as joy, and again, if that element was harmonious within the person's body, then the person would feel happy.
Right.
And
Yeah.
if it was in imbalance, then the person might be maybe overly happy, too much joy, laughing loud, and
Yeah.
um, red face, and
Yeah. It
a
sounds it's
loud voice.
yeah. It
So
sounds
all this,
yeah, it sounds like it's a great system to reflect back to people if they have an understanding of
totally,
it, where they're
yeah,
at in their own lives, so to speak. Both,
definitely,
yeah,
and it's very simple as well,
yeah,
simple
yeah.
to understand.
So how
So
old is
in
it?
Feng Shui,
How old is this system?
okay, so Chinese medicine, has been developing for last 3,000 years,
Yeah.
and I have to say that even though the system is quite old, it still is bringing something new, or people keep bringing something new into it. But the basics are about 3,000 years old, and that's a long, long time. So I think originally, um, someone has had the observation,
Mm,
um,
mm,
quality,
yeah,
and put the system together
yeah,
in very clever way. So
yeah,
again, as I said, because it's linked to uh, the word outside and also inside. You
Yeah.
can apply it to
Yeah.
almost anything.
I've just put up a picture there with a statue, but it's got actual big pins in it. Now this picture would actually frighten people off, thinking, oh, they're sticking needles into their body and it's going to hurt. What would you say to that kind of statement?
um, I mean, the picture, yes, it looks a little bit scary because the needles look large, but they're actually very small. They're tiny little
Yeah,
pins, and um, the insertion is quite shallow.
yeah,
Uh, Now, it is something that people might feel fearful about when it comes to the first session, or when it comes to the consultation. But I think um, once you come for the acupuncture and um, get used to the idea of
yeah,
someone treating you and trusting your therapist, then um, you will not even be aware of the needles. It's
yeah.
the sensation is so slight and small, and also um, very quickly there's a sensation of relaxation
Mm,
that the person might experience. So um,
yeah. I mean,
from
that's
my
yeah,
experience, that it doesn't, this everyone comes and calms down, so it doesn't really hurt
yeah,
unless obviously the treatment is um, done by someone who is treating, particular way and
yeah,
using a bit stronger stimulation. But you can always, the patient can always ask
yeah,
um,
yeah. I think it's also a
about
question, is it a question of mind over matter as well? Because people, associate having needles inserted to them in a hospital medical way. And so they think then it's an
it's nothing
extension.
like it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And how would this correspond then to feng shui? I mean, would we put a needle into our room somewhere to actually get rid of the blockage? How is that done then? What's the parallel to feng shui?
Yes, if you think about the meridians, the energy channels that run through the body,
Yeah,
it's almost like in Feng Shui, you are looking at the um, different aspects of or you look in different parts of the house, and then deciding depending on um, what part of the house is, where is it facing south or north. It's the same with the meridians. You're using the meridian system to kind of assess what's going on there and where to insert the needle and where to help to break the flow
yeah.
or what to do.
Okay.
So again, it's very similar,
Yeah.
but just using a little bit slightly different
I'd imagine
different system.
also with trying to create a flow in the hallways and the corridors and the rooms
Yes,
of people's homes, that what they do is they may not use needles, but what they may need to do is take away whatever the blockage is, whether it's behind the door, whether it's clutter, whether it's something that is jarring a door. These are the things that kind of block people's psychological state without them sometimes
yes.
knowing.
Yes, yeah, it is a very similar coffee, and um, shiatsu, shiatsu and acupuncture both help to release these blockages, and maybe because sometimes there's in the body there's too much energy in one place and not enough in other. So once the blockage is released, once the stagnation, once the flow is free again, the energy will fill the deficient space. So a person usually gains this feeling of harmony
Mm,
and feels a bit more balanced.
yeah,
And I'm sure you can see that with your clients as well
yeah,
when they walk into their new space and they just
yeah,
feel so much
yeah.
better.
I do. I wanted to say something about this because I've been doing webinars on clutter clearing and space clearing, and what I have said to my clients is that when they do disengage and take out the blockages, and when they do space clear a property or a place of their own or workspace, that sometimes you can get what's known as that healing crisis. Can you say something about that? You know, when something
Yeah,
has been
yeah,
removed, there's something else is hangs around. Maybe what does that mean? Healing crisis?
yeah. Healing crisis. Um, it can happen. Some people can have healing crisis, um, but it's not so common in my practice.
Hmm.
I have had very few people reporting that sometimes, again, we are trying to move energy, and moving energy can bring things up, can stir up something that people might not be ready
Yeah.
to embrace
Deal with.
or
Yeah.
to deal with exactly. So
Yeah.
uh, I I think for me, what has worked in my practice is a rather more gentle approach, but at the same time, um, I think it's quite healthy that people understand that this can happen,
Yes.
and uh, each time they go through a healing crisis, um, the next healing crisis might be a lesson, or even not even be there.
Yeah.
So the change can be quite dramatic,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
once the change happen, I think eventually they will see the benefits and
Yeah.
feel the
Yeah.
benefits.
It's almost like people are going into a new space, maybe a space within themselves that they haven't been in before. And I know
Yes.
all of us sometime or other we've cleared a space, we've made space for new things to come in, but we're letting go of old energies, old things. And that in itself can have a draining effect sometimes because the old emotions or old things that we were hanging on to have now left our space. But then
Mm.
I guess that's where it gives us a new space to feel more healthy or feel more lighter, less burdened, and more more exuberant and more energized really as a result of
Yes. Yeah.
these
I
practices.
think I believe that the healing crisis has usually happens on somehow for me in past. If I refer to some previous experiences, they were almost always on emotional level.
Yeah.
So um, again, I think I totally agree with what you said there, because sometimes we've let go of something that we've had for so long with us
Mhm.
that it can be quite hard to let it go,
Yeah.
and open up to something new, and look forward rather than um, look back.
That's very interesting you should say that because that's very relevant to my practice of the feng shui because I find that um, especially with the clutter, people feel a bit edgy about it. They feel uncomfortable because they know that really they need to let go of things. Sometimes they don't know how to let go, and sometimes they feel guilty that they want to hold on to things. And it's the guilt
Mhm.
that sometimes wrecks people. But
Mhm.
it's the having the freedom to let go, whether it's letting go in their body or letting go in what's surrounding them in their environment. That gives them the
Mhm.
new lease of life and the new energy that they're so wanting to attract into their life.
Yes, I think somehow with acupuncture, it is quite a process as well. The letting go. That's
Mm,
why I always recommend maybe for people to come for a few sessions and see what happens, because um, I feel like with some conditions, if they are just really stubborn and keep coming back, maybe the problems are deep rooted, and the decluttering needs to happen slowly and gradually, and eventually the person um, feels like they are ready to let go. So there can be a lot of conditions. I will refer to the five elements again, like for example,
mm,
people with skin conditions and hair problems, they might have disharmony on the metal element, which corresponds to large intestine and lungs. So there would be something going on in there as well, and they might feel sadness or grief on an emotional level. So something that hasn't let go of something that might have happened in their lives. So again, it's step by step. We kind of helping people to understand what it really is that they haven't let go of, and once that is released, then the conditions usually improve.
That's fantastic. Sounds
And
very, very attractive.
yeah, and you can with the acupuncture, acupuncture is just one way to addressing these things.
Yes.
You can also bring the diet in, and the food that you eat, what you put in your
That's
body,
right,
that will definitely affect your emotions. And
well, we've just got a slide now of all the different coloured foods and vegetables and fruits, and this is a
food
fascinating.
FengShui.
Yeah, we're going to do a whole interview on food and feng shui. Well, can you just say a little bit about how nutrition is also the fundamental and foundation of health, and how you can actually dissect it by using the 5 elements and the food?
Yes. I mean, again, I love the 5 element system because you have 5 different colors. The wood element has a green color, the fire element, a red color, earth element, yellow, metal element, white, and water element, blue or black. And you can, if you look at all these colors, they stimulate different energy within you, so they will have different aspects. And if you, for example, with the nutrition as well, you would ideally you would bring all these colors on your plate to really have balanced and healthy, nutritious meal. And yes, these colors will also stimulate the inspiration within you, I think, because if you look at colorful plate like this picture has got so many different colors, it brings a joy, I think. And it's much nicer. So again, when I see patients in my clinic, I always ask about their diets as well and what they eat, because, for example, these days there's a lot of problems, health problems related to food, and we can discuss that on the next.
Definitely, I think it's definitely a fascinating subject for everybody concerned, because, as you said, that it's not just the 5 elements in this, but it's also a seasonal aspect to it as well, isn't it? That eating certain vegetables at a certain time of the year, which are compatible with what the local market provides, is also reliant upon, how not only fresh they are, but what effect they have when they're eaten in the right season.
Definitely, they will have certain energy, like the root vegetables that grow in autumn and during the winter. There will be much. There will be more. I would use the term young, which means they would be supporting more the young energy within the body, the contracting energy that you need during the winter, because it's cold. So you need to keep all your energy within. And then again, the foods, or the season of foods that grows in spring, for example, like salads and greens and cucumbers, they would have more yin or expanding energy, and they would be more cooling. They will open up the body. They will the person might receive, who is eating it, he might receive a certain type of energy from that food.
Right.
So that's another quite great way to
Yeah.
and simple way to look at foods and what energy the food can bring into the body.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a big calling for this now because people are manifesting all kinds of illnesses such as diabetes too, where it's actually affecting their not just lifestyle but also their very
Yes,
lives, in fact.
yes.
Um, is there anything else that you feel that would be of great benefit for people to know about acupuncture and the five elements that you would like to impart to people on this webinar?
Yes, I believe that everyone is different and everyone probably need to go and try for themselves how things if it works for them,
Mm,
because we are all different. But um, I find it fascinating to even against all the medical research that suggests that acupuncture doesn't work. I find it fascinating that people come and they find out for themselves that it does work. There's no answer to how it works, but um, I think if you are looking for something, or if there are people out there who are listening now and they are looking for something that might help them a little bit to not only maybe make some changes, but maybe even find out something about themselves,
mm,
then I think Chinese medicine, acupuncture, shiatsu, feng shui, these are great ways
yeah.
how they can reconnect
Yeah,
with themselves.
yeah. There's something very organic about them all, that they're all very much from nature and earth, and they
Yes,
make sense. I mean, even if we look at the elements we use, like fire, water, these they're also in our language. We use, someone's is very fiery in terms of personality.
yes,
They see red, or spring is the color of green and expansion and growth, and so I find it very akin to a very natural, organic approach to life, to what you eat, to how you arrange your own environment. So,
yes.
can I ask you, where would people go now if they wanted to kind of have a sample? I know you're based up in Manchester, and this is going out round the world, but
Hmm.
people could either contact you, could they not, or by email,
Yes,
or
yes. I'm
tell us where
happy.
you're located.
Yes, I'm located in northwest of the UK, in Manchester. But people can drop me an email. I can do consultations over the email or over the Skype as well.
That's great.
Usually, as I said, acupuncture is or shiatsu are hands-on, but I also do food and
Analysis. Yeah,
lifestyle
great.
recommendations. So
Yeah,
food
fantastic.
therapy is becoming massive thing, Kathy, and
Okay.
everyone
Yeah,
wants to uh, understand um, food a bit better,
yeah,
so they can make uh, good choices for themselves.
yeah. So, what's the email that they would need to send any questions or queries to you? Or
Yes. Um, so my email would be my first name, which is Renata, and dot, and my surname is quite complicated.
oh, is it?
uh,
Well, I can always give that. I'll tell you what. I'll give me your email, and I will put that out alongside the interview that's going out. How does
that
that
would be
sound?
great.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, brilliant. But it's fascinating. We've covered an awful lot of landscape there in terms of needles, in terms of pressure, five elements, how it matches up with the blockages and the stagnancy of Feng Shui, and how the
Mhm.
five elements, which I've been teaching myself on how they exhibit themselves and manifest in the environment. And if people have
Mhm.
got a little bit of each element in the environment, then that makes them more balanced themselves. However, I certainly second what you've said, that everyone's individual. So what one person has one person might have a need for more fire than another person. And that's why I like the system, because it is tailored individually, and so is feng shui. It's tailored
Yes,
individually to the needs of the inhabitants of that particular abode. And just finally,
yes.
one more word on feng shui. Have you actually implemented this yourself or experienced it, and how was it for you if you have?
Yes, I love Feng Shui. I think for me, again, it's another system that has worked for me. And when I learned about Feng Shui, I think I came across it again back in the days when I started to study shiatsu. But again, thanks to you, Kathy, as
Yeah,
well, because you introduced a lot. Um, to me, so when I brought it into my life, the colors and the right, just little things that I like, I've put
yeah.
them around the house uh, the way I wanted them, then it definitely brought a much nicer energy and much nicer flow into my environment. And people always comment when they come, they always comment
Mm. That's always
on
a
the
good
space.
feedback, very good feedback. Because
Yes,
sometimes it's not always what people see, it's actually what they
how they
feel.
feel.
And
Yes,
people sometimes, you'd be surprised how many people feel a place before they actually see a place,
yes, yes.
you know? And have
I
you implemented
definitely
that into
agree.
your business then? Your environment for your business as well?
Um, yes, I do actually. I work in different places, so sometimes it is a little bit difficult,
Yeah,
but you would find always a little plant or crystal or something else in here and there. So, and yes, I have I have chosen also my therapy room, the colors for the
yeah.
therapy room, etc. I have chosen very carefully that it uh, complements the space, but complements me and also the people who comes to see me.
Great. That sounds fantastic. It really does. Well, listen, Renata, thank you very, very much for coming on here and giving us a very concise synopsis of what acupuncture and shiatsu is, and introducing us into the whole idea of the five elements with nutrition, because that is, as we said before, very fundamental to people's well-being. Now, for anybody who is interested that in Renata's work, it might be easy to contact me, and then I can divert all the emails over to Renata. So if you contact me on wealthyspaces@gmail.com, that's wealthyspaces@gmail.com, then I can pass on all the queries and any answers that Renata can give you with regard to this particular interview. So once again, thank you very much. I've really enjoyed it, and we will be doing another interview specifically, I believe, just on the five elements and feng shui for food.
That's great. Thank you
Yeah,
very much,
yeah.
Kathy, and have a great day.
Thank you very much. You too. Take care now. Bye. Bye.
Thanks.